everybody, welcome back. Horror Pack unboxing time, and today we're here to do another unboxing of, I know I already said it, but whatever. Horror Pack. Yes, that's right. As I like to remind you, Horror Pack does kindly send me the box every month for free because they enjoy my reviews. So I'm not paid or sponsored, but I do get the box for free. And if you want to sign up for Horror Pack, you can get $3 off your first subscription by using my code BLOODYBUTTS. That's all one word. BLOODYBUTTS. And that should get you $3 off. And what it is like, I think $20 a month. Maybe it's 25. I'm sorry, I'm blanking. I think it's still $20 plus shipping, maybe. So somewhere between 20 and 25. You're gonna get at least four horror films, either on Blu Ray or DVD, you choose. And of course, at least one of those is going to be an exclusive you can only get on physical media as of the releasing of this video, or the filming of this video. So I do have a huge movie collection. I tend to have a lot of these, although sometimes lately they do surprise me and send me some cool stuff I've not heard of or seen. And then I will be watching all of these and we'll give you little reviews, and I'll try to rope Mary into watching at least one of them with me. Whether I've seen them or not, it's always fun to revisit. That's what I enjoy about this. So, you open up the box, it comes like this. And as usual, I'm gonna peek at the spines just to make sure I flip these the correct way and, open up so we can bring the exclusive out last. And there we go. Okay, I got it set. Okay, so first up this month, I think, what is this, June? I guess this is the June box because June's almost over. That makes sense. It just feels like it came very quick after May. Hey, look at me putting these out on time. All right, first up, and I have all the links for everything in the description if you wanna go. It's horrorpack.com, or links in the description below. Also, you can get my code down there if you want it. So, first up we have, ooh, cool. I got to rewatch one of these recently from Horror Pack. I'm excited to rewatch this one because, well, let me just show you what it is. We got The First Purge, which has some really good stuff in it. Get in there where you can kind of see the back of the box a bit better. Get it over my face. We got the Forever Purge the other day, and it made me want to, the other month, a month or two ago, and it made me want to go back and rewatch all of these films. So it sounds like it sounds like they're gonna be sending me the Purge series. Let's see. I've made a horrible mistake in not brightening the lights a little bit, so I'm gonna do an old man flashlight trick so I can see what I'm doing. Plus it makes me look spooky. HD picture and theater quality sound. You've experienced the tradition. Witness how it all began. Blumhouse Productions welcomes you to the movement that began as a simple experiment. The First Purge. To push the crime rate below 1% for the rest of the year, the new founding fathers of America test a sociological theory that vents aggression for one night in one isolated community. But when the violence and oppressors meet the rage of the marginalized, I was hoping I could get away without coughing, the contagion will explode from the Trial City borders and spread across the nation. Bonus features include deleted scenes, a radical experiment, bringing the chaos and the masks of the First Purge. Excuse me, everybody. I'm a little dried out, and as well filtered as our house is, all that Canadian wildfire smoke has moved down to here in Kentucky the last few days, and today it's really bad. So, pardon me. But I'm very excited for this. I remember a lot of it. There's a lot of cool stuff in there, and I love the Purge films. They're really fun. They're way better than they should be. All right, next up we have, and of course I own that. I might own it in 4K. I don't know if they all came out in 4K, but if they did, I own it in 4K. All right, next up we have, this is great. I am looking forward to watching this again. This is a great one if you have not seen this. And Joe Carey is fantastic in it. We have Spree. So this is kind of, not quite a found footage movie per se. It's one of the, it's sort of found footage. It's not really found. But this guy decides to go internet famous and viral by doing like an Uber kind of thing and killing his passengers, basically. And it's very, very cool. So this is gonna be a fun rewatch. So did I show you the back? There you go. Joe Carey. I don't think this is one for you, Mary. I don't know. I can't remember how gruesome it actually was, but
that's Steve.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ion Cinema, a commanding lead performance by Stranger Things' Joe Keery. Meet Kurt, a 23-year-old rideshare driver for Spree, who is so desperate for social media attention that he'll stop at nothing to go viral. He comes up with a plan to live stream a rampage of a shortcut to infamy, coining his evil scheme, #TheLesson. He installs a set of cameras in his car and begins streaming his rides, wildly miscalculating the popularity that would come from his lethal scheme. Kurt's desperation grows as he tries to find a way to overcome the plan's flaws. In the middle of all this madness, a stand-up comedian, Sashir Zamata, with her own viral agenda, crosses Kurt's path and becomes the only hope to put a stop to his misguided carnage. Oh God, yeah, I remember how that works. Special features include a director's audio commentary, Kurt's World 96 social media content, and I feel like this is a different cover than I have. I'll have to look, because, I'm a cover collector too, so. Right on. Well, that's two really, really fun movies to get to rewatch already. So this is already a great horror pack. All right, so third movie, we have... Okay, no, this is good. I'm excited to rewatch it. I keep saying I think they've sent all of them to me, but I think we still have The Nun. But we have The Conjuring 3. I know they've sent us, I believe, Conjuring 1 and 2. They've done all the Annabelles. So clearly they're going to run us through this whole series. But you know what? I really like this series. I really like these films. And this is going to be a good time. So The Conjuring 3, The Devil Made Me Do It. Based on the shocking true story of demonic possession. Based on a chilling true story, paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren risk their lives to prove the innocence of the accused and the existence of evil forces in the first U.S. murder trial where demonic possession is being used as a legal defense. Well, you know what I say about that gumshoe? I say that ain't gonna cut it. You hear them flapjacks, these kids today on their marijuana and all their other psychotropics. They're just gonna be street. I was trying to do Joe Friday. I was not doing it very well. We have special features of By Reason of Demonic Possession, an in-depth look at the true story that inspired the movie. The Occultist, meet the terrifying new addition to the Conjuring universe. Exorcism of Fear, dive into the making of the movie and the chilling exorcism scene that opens the film. DC Horror presents The Conjuring, The Lover, #1, a video comic that goes deeper into the Conjuring universe. This is 112 minutes and is rated R. It is not directed by James Wan, but it is a good time. And I look forward to rewatching that too. Honestly, of these three movies, this is excellent, but this is probably the weakest of those three. So when I'm least excited to rewatch, but I'm still excited to rewatch it. So now we move on to the main event here, which is the Horror Pack exclusive. The will they, won't they relationship they have with me of will the art be great, will the art be awful on the back, will I be frustrated by it since it's a physical collector thing, but I think it's just becoming a fun thing they do, and I'm gonna be so narcissistic and egotistical to believe that they do it on purpose to me now. It's specifically about me. I'm kidding. Also, how independent will this be? Will this be a movie I know a lot of people in? Will it be a Blu Ray edition of Sharks of the Corn? I would about crap my pants if that was the case, because I only got the DVD. All right, let's see what we get. Oh, I like this cover. I like the concept. Fangs Out, Horror Pack Limited Edition Blu Ray. Y'all in your back cover, it's a great poster. It's a great front cover. And then it's hard to tell on the camera, but it is a frame grab, a video grab kind of background. It's not terribly laid out. I've seen them do worse. I've seen them do better. But Mary, as you can see, the quality of the picture printing isn't great.
Yeah.
It's been laid out worse. It's been laid out better. And this does look low budget. I don't know this company, but it is from 2022. All right, let's see. Ooh.
You can read it?
No, I can read it. I was just actually looking at the pictures. And I'm like,
We've had some where you can't read it.
I know. No, it's very clear and legible. The cover art makes this look a lot more impressive than the frame grabs. But we'll see. I love these movies. Any movie that gets made and distributed, we've had this conversation. It's a miracle to even get made, much less distributed. For every one movie that comes out, there are 10 movies that didn't get distributed. For every 10 movies that didn't get distributed, there's 100 movies that didn't get finished. So kudos to the filmmakers. Here we go. The undead have a new plan. A group of college students head to Mexico for some cheap plastic surgery. They meet Dr. Pavor, a creepy surgeon who is actually a vampire, harvesting victims for his blood cartel. Aided by his bloodthirsty nurses, he systematically carries out his evil plan. When a detective looking for his missing daughter arrives, all hell breaks loose in a bloody, combustible confusion. Maybe. It doesn't say anything about special features. They don't even have the running time on here. Come on, Horror Pack. You gotta at least give me the damn running time. At least put the running time on there. What the? Hiya. I don't know. Sounds common. Sounds traditional. I think this might be the one Mary watches. It's a hard choice. Like, listen, Mary ain't gonna do the first Purge. I guess she could do the Conjuring 3, but I'm not gonna put her to the Conjuring 3 when she hasn't seen the other ones. Not that she'd really have to. So maybe Spree, because I just can't remember how. I don't think it's super violent or gory, but I think for nothing else, for Joe Carey, she would she would appreciate this one. And it's really good. She said maybe. I don't know if you heard her. So we'll see if Mary shows up on either of these reviews. But now, speaking of reviews, let's get to the magic. Let's watch. Terrible face for me.
Yes, hey you guys.
I'm sorry, I'm sitting comfortably. I'm sorry, okay? The first Purge. So I guess, was it last month or the month before, but we had the Forever Purge, which was amazing. The first Purge is and isn't amazing. However, my isn't is pretty light. It's really relative, I guess, to the other Purge films, at least from memory. But I will tell you this, just like rewatching the Forever Purge, rewatching the first Purge makes me want to go rewatch the entire Purge series. I want to rewatch Purge 1. I really want to rewatch Purge 2 and Purge 4. I think this was Purge 3. Was this Purge 3 or Purge 4? Forever Purge was 5, right? I'm not missing one, because there's election year, there's the Purge, there's the Purge 2, there's Purge election year. First Purge, I think, was 3. Anyways, there's a lot to love about this. It's intense. Skeletor is interesting as fuck. The whole party scene is amazing when Skeletor shows up at the party. I kind of wish they'd gone even more bonkers with that. I have a love-hate relationship with things like the contacts and the tracking, but I do love that politician versus science, or psychological element of it, of the creation of the Purge. But then it's like, yeah, but if you pay people, and then how's it turn into the world why they don't pay people? So I could see they were going a direction with this. They were testing the waters, and they found what did and did not work from this moving forward, because there's a lot of cool stuff that really works. Now, again, I think it's 3 because it does kind of, from memory, I'm going from long ago memory, fit into sort of more of a sequel to 2 with Frank Grillo. Frank Grillo kind of being the Punisher in the Purge universe. That's when the Purges, they really started working. Like, of course, the first one works in its way, but they never really went back to doing what the first one did. They all kind of spun off from part 2. And I love our main character, the gangster character in this. I think he's interesting, complicated, layered, beautifully performed. And then our main lady, beautifully performed, interesting, maybe not quite as layered. And then, you got your fairly one-note-ish teenage redemption son, there's all that kind of stuff. But there's a lot to love in here. You got like the 3, the old war vet characters. That's some fun shit. The community trying to come together, but also, kind of figuring out how everything goes to shit and why everything goes to shit. And I dug the fuck out of that. It does kind of make you wonder if they started with this level of technology, like certain things of how they started, the technology, the scientific experiment, like the contacts, the paying people. You get paid more for participating. They don't really go deeper into that. Some of that stuff doesn't really play forward in the future nearly as much, and it's probably better off for it. I think the vagaries, I do like the exploration of how it all came together, but also the vagaries of, how the Purge ever came about is an interesting thing. I should watch these in timeline order someday. That could be interesting. But again, some of the violence is horrifying. Some of it's satisfying. Definitely horrifying. And having the militia groups running through the high-rise building the way they did, really fucking terrifying, because you put yourself in that situation and it's like, what the fuck do you do? As sort of emotionally gruesome as these films can be, and particularly this one, when you really start to think about this like gated high-rise community and how many people were just fucking slaughtered and murdered in this. It's devastating. I think it's even more than what the film really ever shows you or gives you an appreciation of. It's not really the best terminology for it, but it gets the point across what I'm trying to say. I think the setup is really interesting. I don't know about the psychological evaluation element of it. That doesn't play as well, but again, they're trying things, they're seeing what works, what doesn't. So I ain't gonna crap on that too bad, because I know we get at least like 2-3 more after this that are excellent. Pacing's fine, it's a good time in that regard. God, I really want to go watch the others, but now I'm thinking Horror Pack, much like the Conjuring universe, is probably going to be sending me all those. It's like, maybe I shouldn't rush into watching all of those. But no, I had a great time with it, man. The first Purge. I think it's either my second least favorite or my least favorite, because I think the first one might be my least favorite, but in that way that I still love the first one. It's just something's got to be on the bottom. And I think a lot of the first one, at least from memory, if they send it to me and give me a good reason to rewatch it this year, maybe I'll change my mind. But I feel like it's because it's not as fulfilling of the premise and the promise as a lot of these other films are. What happens to our doctor in this, the way that's shown in such a realistic and just like brush it off fashion, is extra brutal. And I that part always just makes me, it always grosses me out. Like, it makes me like in my soul, like, feels bad. Like, kind of that almost, not quite, nothing gets, you know, it's very difficult to get at the level, but it gets close to touching that cannibal holocaust, my soul needs a shower feeling. Something about that element really works for me. And yeah, starting to set up the masks and character groups and weirdness and people being weird. Cool. I don't think the news would flat out show you a murder, even in this universe. It just feels, but they didn't really set that up, but that's also really nitpicky. Anyways, I'm going on too long. That's my thoughts on the first Purge. I enjoyed the fuck out of that movie. I love the Forever Purge. I think 2 might be my favorite, and I hope they send me that and the Purge election year to rewatch. And if I'm forgetting of one, then I feel really crappy, but I want to watch it too. If I forgot it, maybe it's better than I remember. All right. Oh, next movie. So I actually got Mary to watch Spree with me, and so I've seen it before. I loved it. This is my second viewing. Wow, it still holds up. Lots of extra fun with being more free to read the text and stuff, and I'll say more. But Mary, your initial thoughts?
I enjoyed it.
I feel like you were really engaged, but go ahead.
Yeah, but again, it's a tricky view though, because you I don't know how they watch this live comments in live streams to begin with, to be honest.
Fair. Especially like popular channels.
And then, yeah, and then especially when there are scenes where you have like 3 screens going at once, and you're like, so you're trying to watch, listen, and read at the same time.
Visual overload, especially if you can't turn any of it off.
Yeah. I enjoyed it. We've done some of the casting a little differently.
And we'll get to that in this. Okay.
But
yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was just saying we'll get more detail on that in a second, just because you were still on general. But did you? I guess my question before we dive in is: did you enjoy it more than you thought you would? I feel like you might have, because it's better than I remember it being, and I remember it being great.
I guess so. I really did not know what my expectations were, other than I like
Joe Carey, Keary, something like that. Steve Dave.
Yeah. This Stranger Things guy.
Joe Keery.
Steve!
Yeah. And he is fucking awesome in this, is he not?
Yeah.
Like, he's iconic as Steve in Stranger Things, but he really is a completely different person in this. And like, you don't really, at least I don't. I never really feel like, I mean, sure, like right when the movie starts or whatever, like if you don't know what you're going into or whatever, you'd be like, oh, that's Steve from Stranger Things. But I think that's at most. I think outside of that, like, he is this character in this movie. Like, yeah, I mean, like, you aren't distracted by him being Steve.
No.
Yeah, so just jumping into it, then the casting. And I don't disagree with what Mary's going to tell you, but tell me what you started to tell me. I was like, save it for the review.
I feel like David Arquette and to a lesser degree Kyle Mooney.
David Arquette, I'm with you on. Kyle Mooney, less, but let's go ahead. Go ahead.
My primary reason being is it's like they show up and it's like, oh, it's David Arquette, or oh, it's the SNL guy.
Okay.
And I feel like it would have been better if it was mostly not necessarily completely unknowns, but lesser known than Joe.
Also,
and just to keep it from being distracting.
Well, I agree on David Arquette. I think less people know Kyle Mooney. I think we're just more...
Just because
yeah, because also Sashir Zamata is actually a famous comedian, I believe. And we don't know her. She was good in this.
Yeah, and probably because I wasn't familiar with her. It was just like...
yeah, so I don't think that's so much the movie's casting as much as familiarity. Outside of David Arquette, although I think David Arquette's really good in this.
Yeah.
But his recognizability is much more than anybody else in this film.
Yeah.
I think the pacing is great. I know I've seen more of these, what I call screen capture, not necessarily found footage, but screen capture films. Oh, look, they aren't fighting. They were in sharing. Then probably you have.
Yeah.
And I like this style a lot. And I think this is substantially well done. Hour and 32 minutes, incredibly tight, incredibly engaging all the way through. And as somebody who does the YouTube thing, who's gone viral, I mean, I'm not like obsessed with it like this guy or whatever. But in a way, I kind of watch a movie like this, and it's like, yeah, this is why I don't care as much as I even once did. Mm-hmm. It's like, it's not that. Who fucking cares? I'm just going to make shit. You want to watch it, you watch it. I get it. I'm not knocking people. I mean, don't do this shit. Although this is pretty brilliant, and I love a lot of the setup for like little hints, and especially on the second viewing. In the beginning, you see things, you're like, oh, that's when he's doing this or that or the other, he's setting up. And then they call back to it, like with the water bottles. And it's like, oh, you got to prepare your water for your day and the rides. And of course, later, you find out, it's like, oh, prepare your water bottle.
Yeah.
I
was, the way he was saying it, it's kind of like, what did you do to the water bottle?
See, I didn't get that the first time. But, I not as well as the movie really drives it home. But, and then there's some shocking shit too, like the DJ Uno, I want to say, like her just startling awake, like what the fuck?
Yeah, I am kind of curious as to what exactly he was putting in those water bottles.
Yeah. I mean, again, I don't think that's necessarily important to what the purpose of doing it. But
I know it's not important. It doesn't mean I'm not curious.
Mary's gonna marry this, but not like marry it because she loves it. Wait, what? But yeah, no, I think the pacing is great. I think the story is great. I like the ending. One issue I do have, at least on second watch, is the Sashir's comedic. I forget what her character name is in the movie, but her stand-up set that's supposed to be like. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Let's make it to the point. Yeah. I mean, it matters. It just doesn't matter in the context of this. Her big set that's live streamed and blah blah blah. I'm like, it's not like some stuff happened and they cut around it for this movie. Like, we saw her whole set, and there's nothing comedy about it. There's no, like, stand-up. It's almost like a good setup for a stand-up comedic joke when she tells about her day. But, like, this character, I'm not knocking the actor, but this character's comedy most of the time I don't think is comedy or even funny. And comedy is, of course, objective. But I mean, like, in just the structure of actually having jokes or punchlines, I don't think you actually see a lot. You do a few times. There's a couple of lines, like, early in her first spree ride that are pretty damn funny.
Well, it's just like you see, where the story thing, where it's like a lot of clips strung together. And it's just like, and there's some good stuff in there.
But is there? Because again, as I was paying more attention to it, it's like it's either a setup to a joke and you don't get the punchline, or you get the punchline, you hear the audience laugh, but you don't actually. And I'm not saying they needed that in this sequence, but you aren't really ever getting full jokes or getting a real sense of her comedy as fully. And again, I don't think it's necessarily needed. I think I'm just nitpicking. I don't know. I'm just talking about it to talk about it. I don't think it ruins anything in the movie per se. I just saying on my second viewing, I'm like, it wasn't as strong. Like, if that was like her mega set that made her mega famous before all this stuff, like, it wasn't much of a set.
Well, first of all,
I'm going into AGT mode.
Again, some of her stuff actually worked for me. Her mega set, though, was basically commentary with roasting.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I don't really have a problem with it. I'm just pointing it out. Nope, we got to focus. We got to get this review done.
Well,
I
is there
know.
anything else to
Yes,
do?
because Kyle Mooney was good as the sketchy dude. The reveal of the mom again.
That's sort of his archetype.
Fair. The reveal of the mom and what happened there. Definitely interesting on a second watch, kind of knowing ahead of time. His camera rig, all of that. And I got to say, as somebody who does all this stuff, the authenticity of what comments look like, what pages look like, what view screens look like. Because you'd think that's something they would easily get right in every movie all the time. But honestly, it's pretty fucking rare. They nailed that here. It looks like what shit's supposed to look like. And the whole playing with... and there's so much good commentary and concept in here. Like, this shit could really happen, and that's kind of terrifying. Even down to the point where he's talking about how you gotta, like, fake some shit. It's a little harder earlier because you want to buy yourself some time to really get away with more. Like, that shit's fucked up and in the best ways that horror points out. And also, I mean, the search of fame, the search of finding your way to matter, even though, like, maybe it's the wrong way for you and how that can drive you crazy. Down to the fact that he was only knowing, like, the famous streamer kid because he had babysitted the kid, and now he's, like, trying to ride his coattails and babysitting fucking famous streamer kid is a total douchebag, you know?
Yeah.
Like, Jesus Christ, man. So, I really love this movie. It's great, and I'm very happy we got to watch it again, and I'm happy Mary got to check it out and actually enjoy it, and that it wasn't, I don't think, ever too much in the violence or the gruesome.
I mean, there's blood,
not really.
but it's you don't see how the blood happens most of the time.
Yeah, even the most obvious one, outside of a couple of gunshots, are it's still, like, really kind of stylized. It works, it's effective, but it's like if gore is your turnoff, you ain't gonna worry about that here. It's just a really good movie. So fuck yeah, Spree. Woo! Shit. Oh, you know what? Hold on. Wait, but that's not the end of the review. Fuck yeah, Spree. So remember to click the thumbs up button, subscribe, smash that like, the bell. God, I'm too old, I don't even remember. Follow me on the Twitters and the socials and the Instagram. Share my stream. 5 stars, Uber. I don't drive Uber, but give me 5 stars on there anyways, even though I use Lyft when I'm in Disney. I wanted to do the whole damn stupid spiel because of the movie, and then I almost forgot, but I remembered. Yeah, do all that. Yeah. Bye. So, The Conjuring 3, Electric BGW. The Conjuring 3, The Devil Made Me Do It, is good. It's solid. It's better than some of the spin-offs. But as far as the actual Conjuring trilogy, it's probably the weakest entry. Now, that's not saying it's bad. I just feel like you're definitely lacking the incredible sound design that you've gotten in the first 2 Conjurings, which I believe is a big, strong element of what really make those work. I do, however, like that it's a bit of a court procedural. I wish it had maybe been a little bit more of a court procedural, if you could have worked that in more. But, I think the cast is fine. The era that they're setting it in is pretty interesting. The villain twists and all that, it feels a little bit more generic, like it's almost like they're starting to run out of ideas. I'm not saying they are, or that's the case. That's just kind of how I felt upon my rewatch. It wasn't as engaging as the movies tend to be for me. Again, still, I would put it above some things like maybe The Nun or The Curse of La Llorona, or maybe one of the Annabelles. No, the Annabelles are all pretty good. But, good performances, good design, and all that stuff. I do like diving into using her psychic abilities to kind of figure out where this other murderer, technically, has disappeared to, and dealing with the cop and all that kind of stuff. But I do feel this one's also a bit more straightforward, and there's some imagery in here that's really cool, but also kind of cliche. So it's a cliche, but they do a really good job doing the cliche or the trope. But yeah, I do feel like we're missing James Wan on this one as a director, and because the jump scares, the tension, it's there, but it's nowhere near as there as the first couple of Conjuring movies. He really knows how to set you up and misdirect you, and there's some of that in here, but nowhere near as much as the other two. And I do think it's pretty cool the way you're kind of seeing the POV of the possessed person, but also seeing how it's playing out in the real world to other people, which of course plays into the courtroom drama element of it. I think all that's pretty interesting. And again, loosely based on true stories, so that's kind of cool too, because again, if we can't prove the existence of heaven and hell, then we can't really hold that up in court. So, devil's advocate, if this was true, the kid kind of got fucked, but also, I mean, the court of law is about, you know, facts and proving things, and if you can't actually prove something, it's like the whole idea, you're innocent unless we can prove you guilty, and if you can't prove somebody guilty, you know, blah, blah, blah. So, if, you know, you're not possessed unless we can prove that possessions are a real thing, and we can't prove it, you know, so, or do we? I'm not telling you. You haven't seen this movie yet. Maybe you have. Maybe you know the story. I do like one of the characters, the guy from Fringe, the older guy, I can't think of his name. It's cool that he shows up in here, has some interesting stuff to do. And this does tie into the universe pretty good. And mine's unopened because I already had a copy, and I just watched it on HBO anyways. You know, Max streamed in 4K even, so why a Blu Ray? But, I mean, overall, yeah, you know, I mean, I'm more than middle of the road. I'm more on the positive side of it than the negatives, for sure. It's not just middle of the road forgettable, although compared to like 1 and 2, like 1 and 2 are really strongly memorable, really strongly creepy and terrifying. I don't feel like this one holds up. I feel like I liked this a lot more in my initial viewing, and now in my rewatch, I'm like, maybe I just wasn't completely in the mood for it. That could also be part of it. Maybe a third rewatch, I'm like, oh, I'm full of crap in my last review. Who knows? Maybe in 3-4 years, Horror Pack sends this to me again because they've run out of horror movies. I don't know. We'll find out. But I guess that's pretty much what I got to say about The Conjuring 3. Yeah, it's okay. It's not the worst. It's not the best. I miss James Wan. That's my thoughts. I'm sorry. Before I get to the review, I'm less than 5 minutes in, and I'm... Wow. Oh. Alright, you saw my reaction at the beginning. Just watched Fangs Out. Okay. This is going to be rough, because I don't like to crap on movies. I don't like to rip apart movies. I don't like to blah, 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 blah. So I feel like I need to give some context, because I do understand stuff like this. I'm happy stuff like this is still being made and still finding distribution, but if you're involved in this movie, I'm just going to warn you now, you might not want to watch this review. I'm not going to be mean, hopefully, but I'm not going to be nice. Wow. Immediately I could tell, okay, this took me back to the days, and maybe these still exist. And I used to watch a lot of these and give them the chance, because I would run in these kind of circles and make films like this. But even when I was involved in working on films of this level, or knowing people making films of this level, even then I had to bite my tongue more than I wanted to, because work your fucking script, if nothing else, okay? Maybe it's your first time out directing. Maybe you don't understand directing. You don't understand editing, any of that, but work your fucking script to start with. Let your actors create realism in their scenes. Actors try to create realism in your scenes. These are definitely not theater actors. Maybe 1 or 2, like The Doctor's not bad. God, where do I start? So like I said, it reminds me of those you'd pay $10 at Best Buy and you get 10 movies on a 1 DVD. I'm exaggerating, but it's something like that from Brain Damage. And I have friends that made that. It led to me making one of my versions of one of these movies, Zeppo. But Zeppo, despite its flaws, like, it's reasonably good, relatively good compared to these things. And I'm not trying to be like I'm better in any way, shape, or form. But oh my god, this was just constant, nothing but groans and pains of what? And I love you, Horror Pack, but even Horror Pack, I had to be like, listen, I appreciate that you're out there putting out these smaller films, these films that might not otherwise get a chance, and showing your support there. I really appreciate it. But even you, there's a certain standard, like, even at your worst in these, there's a certain standard or certain element or interesting element of entertainment. There's none here. There's none here. And again, I don't want to shit on the actors. Some of the actors, very much just like, I want to be in a movie. I'm an actor. And don't understand how to bring realism to it. Don't have to understand how to find characters. Because even in not great scripts like this, you can find a character. You can create a character. You can build a character. And if you're working with other actors that are willing to do the same, you can create something together and make it feel realistic. And I don't think it's completely the actor's fault. It's also production-wise, things people do. One of the biggest mistakes you can make on smaller filmmaking like this is when you write and direct a film, which this is clearly a small team of writers, directors, producers. Because even like the executive producer, the story guy, is like the dad cop who's... Honestly, he's one of the better actors in this, but... sorry, guy with the obviously fake. Okay, maybe it's not. Listen, my name is Butts, and it's not a stage name, it's my real name, but you might think it. But I'm sitting here like Oppenheimer. Yeah, your last name isn't Oppenheimer. Anyways, this was a chore. I hate to say that. This was a chore. I gotta be real. God. I feel like maybe I could have liked this more if I had gone into it knowing more that it was this level of no budget indie. And like I said, I love the spirit and the passion of people like this, like first time out. And I did have the thought, like, it's 2022. How are we still making movies like this? But then I thought, well, yeah, people out there, they still do. I'm just afraid to find out this is not these people's first movie. Like, that will really make it. But if it's their first movie, okay, but also horror packed. Come on. I appreciate you, I do. But there's a place for... Is Brain Damage still doing that? Like, let them. I hope Brain Damage is still doing that. And I would... If a movie come out like this on Brain Damage, like, I was in that mood and I bought one of those, like, 7 movies for $7 packs. Hells yeah. You know what I'm saying? Alright, cool. I'll support it. I know it, but... That's not... I'll put it this way. Let's say every movie in a horror pack should be worth me paying $5. And I'll pay a lot for a little. I'm not like the richest man in the world by any means, but I have some money. You know, I can afford to pay for things. You know, and feel okay with it. I don't have to struggle. And I'm sorry for those that do. I'm trying to. By no means am I trying to be like rah. But I feel like every movie, even the worst movie in a horror pack, should be worth $5. This might be worth 50 cents. God, I feel so horrible. Let's... God, I hate that. It's so weird. Like, look. It looks like... But then I go... And I'm not saying... Sorry. Random note. I think I'm finally gonna actually start getting my teeth cleaned up, like whatever. Not like veneers, not crazy, but you know, let's go ahead and let's see what we can do on some things. Anyways, oh my god, I don't even want to talk about the movie. Like, I'm glad I never have to watch that again. Obviously, the gore is stupid. It's bad. The VFX, like, okay, so I'll even give him credit for the VFX. Like, sure, not good at all, but sure. I wouldn't crap on it. The thing that bothered me most, sound design. The fuck is your sound design? Learn. It's 2023. Go on YouTube. Learn sound design. Don't rush this movie out. Put at least a couple more months into it. Whoever the editor director is, like, unless it's somebody that... Y'all things out. And I love you, Horror Pack. And I love you, and I'll be with you, especially as long as you send them to me and all that stuff, for sure. And I always appreciate you, but Jesus, please get at least a 20% higher quality in your indie film distribution exclusives. What happened to you having, like, special versions of pieces and things like that when I first found you? Or The Barn. Like, you guys put out a really cool exclusive cover art version of The Barn. Like, this is rough. This was rough. Granted, the 3 other movies in this month were incredibly strong. So maybe there's that. I guess it does balance out. Like, if you're looking at Horror Pack overall, you had 3 insanely strong films. But man, you know, the Trauma, the Toxies Triple Terrors. I'm not even sure this could have fit in one of those. That's what I'm saying. Like, those Brain Damage multi-packs are the level right under that. And again, I don't want to knock those. I know a lot of those filmmakers. I know, and they make some interesting stuff. It has hooks. It's entertaining. It's interesting. This was not. Okay. Hey, Tim, don't touch a sour note. But that's what it is. Until next month. And there you have it. That is 3 awesome movies? 4 awesome movies? I don't know. All the reviews are done in my future. I'm from the past now, by the way. Horror Nights, baby. Mary and I are going to do Hollywood Halloween Horror Nights this year. We got an RIP on Friday the 13th. That is going to be mind-blowing. We're going to Last of Us, we're going to Chucky, we're going to whatever the hell else they announce. We're going to do a few nights there. Actually, yeah, like 3 nights and maybe a bit of Saturday before we have to leave for the airport. But it's going to be great. Also, random, tonight is the night. I got to stay up, 6 a.m. my time. Oogie Boogie Bash tickets go on sale, and I hear they're a lot harder to get to any of the Disney Halloween parties on Hollywood than they are in Orlando. So, wish me luck from the past. But anyways, I think my favorite movie of all of these is going to be Spree, followed by The Purge, followed by Conjuring 3. And even if I really enjoy this, I think it's still going to be at the bottom, just because of I know these 3 movies are excellent. Again, no disrespect there, because I do love this cover. And I'm ready for some vampiric excitement. But on that note, I'm going to get on out of here. So comment below, have you seen these movies? Which of these are your favorite? What's your favorite Purge movie? What's your favorite Conjuring movie? What's your least favorite Conjuring movie? The Nun. Sorry, that one, it had a few moments, but it bored the crap out of me. I like La Llorona a bit more even, which isn't great. But, and The Purge, God, I don't even know. Probably, honestly, the first one is probably my least favorite. It didn't quite have the formula down. I mean, it did, but it didn't. And it's great. So, anyways, that's my thoughts. Can't wait to hear yours. Comment below. Looking forward to it. Other than that, you can click the thumbs up button. Give me the good old thumb of encouragement, as I do love to be encouraged. And remember that we will get through this. We will get through this together. Check out my music anywhere you listen to music. Go to look up Eric Butts on Spotify especially. That's where it helps me the most. And of course, you can go to ericbutts.com for all your other funky butts loving you're looking for. And don't forget my code for Horror Pack, $3 off, Bloody Butts. Links and all that in the description below. Thank you, Horror Pack, for another great box. I'm very excited to check these out. Very excited for the July box. Hoping it's all sharks. I'm in a shark mood. Give me that Sharks of the Corn Blu Ray, baby. It was a limited run, I think, with SRS Cinema, and now you can only get DVDs. So there you go. Do a Horror Pack limited run, Sharks of the Corn. Okay, I'm gonna get out of here so I can go watch some more stuff. I'll see you all later.